Hello everyone, this is Matthew Scooby. Welcome back. So now we have Activision plans to cut hundreds of jobs. Now, I'm going to leave the link in the description below so you can read the article yourself. But basically what's happening is that sales for Activision has dropped to 2.5% as of Friday to $42.88. Now, Activision, if you don't know, is one of the makers to Overwatch and Hearthstone. But how this layoff came to be is that back in November, Activision announced that they were going to be making Diablo, but for mobile. And for some reason, that caused a lot of backlash because there's a lot of people that are not really interested in mobile devices. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't like mobile gaming that much. I do have mobile games on this phone, but 90% of the time I'm playing a game, it's going to be on my computer or something, not on mobile. And I usually just use my mobile device just for texting or whatnot, or sometimes looking at YouTube to see what's going on. And that's why there's this big backlash, because there's a lot of people that didn't want this Diablo on mobile. They don't really like games on mobile devices. There's not that many people that are really into that, especially when it comes to a big title like mobile. And there's been a lot of layoffs when it comes to game journalists. Journalists by the thousands have been laid off. And now Gamestop is suffering. Like, the gaming industry has been suffering. Of course, there's the Telltale's games that they suddenly just saw a loss of revenue. So when it comes to making game companies and gaming, it's a great gamble because your games could be doing fairly well. It doesn't matter how successful your game is, but once it starts seeing decline in sales, those workers are going to start worrying about their jobs. And it's sad too, because a lot of these games that they make, that Activision makes, they were a great part of the gaming industry. There's a lot of people that played these games, and it's scary at the same time because if you want to start a gaming company, there is a great big chance that even if your sales decline just a little bit, right here it says sales declined by 2.5%. Just 2.5%. And I say just 2, but still, that is quite a low number just to lay off these workers. You'd think that they could have just made another game, but since they announced Diablo 2, they automatically just threw everyone under the bus. And it really sucks for the people that works for Activision because they probably worked really hard on these games. And what else does it say? It says Activision isn't alone in stumbling. Electric Arts shares fell 13%. Now that's a big number. Wednesday, after the company confessed that some of its biggest releases disappointed, but it rebounded later in this week. So a lot of gaming companies are seeing this great big decline in sales. Now this could be due for a lot of other reasons, not just for these mobile devices, but there's a lot of gamers that shied away from certain games because of the online DLC. They don't want to buy more DLC. When you buy a game, you spend $60. Most of us believe, hey, I've already paid $60 for this. Why do I need to buy more DLC? Of course, in a way, Resident Evil 2 did that. You had to pay extra to get like the Ultimate Edition, and that's what I did. But they came out and announced that, hey, we're going to make you some free DLC since this game was so successful. And you think, well, that's a good thing. That's what most gaming companies should be doing, but no. They want to get as much money as humanly possible, and that causes a lot of people to not want to play these games, not want to spend money on these games. Now, I'm not saying that's everybody. There are people that spend a good chunk of money on video games, and there are a lot of people that play Overwatch and Hearthstone. So it's so weird for the fact that even though these games are successful, that once they even decline in sales, that it's over. And you see what's happening with GameStop too. GameStop is also laying off its employees, and they are slowly shutting down. GameStop is slowly shutting down. And it's going to probably shut down, maybe I would say, within 10 years. You would say, oh, 10 years is a long time. No, 10 years is actually a short amount of time, and the company is slowly dying, and I don't see it making it past 10 years. They're probably going to be declined by next year, or the year after that. I'm just giving it that 10-year lifespan, just in case if I'm wrong. But I know I'm not wrong for the fact that it will be shut down in 10 years thanks to online DLC, thanks to downloadable content. Because why would you go to GameStop now if you can just download it on the internet? The only backlash to really downloading games online now is that you can't go trade it in. And that's something that I was a little peeved about when I started spending $60 on games and realizing I cannot trade this game in. So now gamers, in my opinion, one reason why gaming companies are suffering, because they're starting to realize, wow, I cannot return these games in anymore, so I need to be more conservative when it comes to buying my games. At least that's what I did. Once I realized I cannot return my games anymore, I'm going to be more careful about what games I buy. And recently, I would say last year, I bought maybe 10 games in total. To be brutally honest, I bought maybe 10 games in total in the entirety of last year, and most of those games were not even $10. Some of those games were not even $60. Most of the games were probably $10. They were probably $20. I maybe only spent $60 on one game, actually more near like $70, $80, I don't really remember, and that was Resident Evil 2. I didn't spend my money on newly released games because I was afraid I probably can't return this, so I probably need to be more conservative about that game. And if I think that, a lot of other people are probably thinking that. On top of that, there's been a lot of games in recent years that have greatly disappointed. Like, you can't tell me that you haven't bought in a game in the past 5 years and not been disappointed. You can't tell me that you didn't buy a game that was worth $60 and you're like, man, this fucking sucks. And some of those people, that was Resident Evil 2, but that's an entirely different topic. So yeah. Yep. So we're going to be seeing a great big decline in these gaming companies, and we're going to be seeing a lot of cuts. And probably, Activision is probably not going anywhere. I hope they don't go anywhere because they make a lot of games that I really enjoy. But what I'm thinking, what's going to happen when they need to make a AAA game, another big game for Activision? They're going to hire new employees that they don't really know what they're doing. Because if you don't know, that's going to halt production sales. That's going to halt the development of the next game. Now they let off all these workers. But it sucks, but that's the reality of the situation, and there's nothing we can do about it, and there's nothing Activision can do about it, because of how GameStop is selling their games, now how you can't really return your games anymore, how they're changing their policy, and how more things are becoming digital, how gamers are becoming more conservative, and now you have these decline of sales that more players are just not wanting to play these games anymore, thanks to online DLC and X amount of other factors. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It helps out my great channel a lot. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.